Yeah, now only I pressed. Okay, we'll start now. Sit comfortably. Let's start with the prayer first. Close your eyes, palms together. Seek the blessings from the Guru's gods, honorable goddesses. Enhance the knowledge in the astrology. Till you are done, slowly open your eyes. Okay, let's start the today's lesson. I hope everyone can see the screen. Okay. Okay. As our daily weekly practice, stay the screen for at least 30 seconds. Whenever you see the screen, recite whatever in the screen in mentally also, or you can say it loud also.
Venus, Mercury, Moon, Sun.
So that this Kala Purusha short will fix in your mind. Some author will call this chart as a Rasi chart, or some author will call them as a Kala Purusha. So keep that in mind. Remember this all the time. Few more seconds. Okay, we'll start the class now. Today is the Tamil New Year. So what that means was when the sun in the moon in the Meena Rasi, it transited to the Mesha Rasi. That is called as the New Year. In the time, usually it will, most of the time, the New Year starting at, it's not necessary to all the time it happening in the sunrise or the sunset. Sunrise and the sunset are different calculation. The New Year can be occur at any point in time, any point in hours in the day or night. Yesterday, it was, if I'm not wrong, it happens around 8 in the night, I guess. Sun transit from the Meena Rasi to the Mesha Rasi. That becomes the next year for, that becomes the beginning of the next year. Okay, let's move into our lesson today. We are going to see the Saturn in the previous weeks. We saw the Saturn in the various rasis. Now today we are going to see Saturn in the Dhanush Rasi. Before we understand Saturn in Sagittarius, let's understand the 5-element principle first. From the Kalapurusha chart, Dhanu Rasi is the 9th in number. 9th Rashi is the Dhanush Rasi. The element is the Agni, dual in nature. So it's not dual in nature means it won't be stubborn, it won't be, it's not fixed, it's not moved. It can do both. It can be fixed, it can be moved. So it was a dual quality. And the male energy is dominant. The owner of the house is the Jupiter. None of the grahas is exalted or depleted. So altogether, this is the Agni Rasi. When the peoples who, when the graha which is in this Rashi, that means it is going to have the Agni element, significance of the Agni element into the fullest. Okay, now let's see the owner of the Rasi is the Jupiter. Now in this point, 9th Rasi is the owner of the Rasi is the Jupiter. Now the Saturn was placed in the Dhanush Rasi. That means the combination of the Saturn, additionally Jupiter. So one rule we already saw that if the Graha was placed in any of the Rasi, that takes the precedence over the owner of the Rasi. Owner will take this work only when there was no Graha in it. Now, this point, we are now we are considering Saturn in the Dhanush Rasi. So the Saturn significance is much more than the Jupiter Rasi. Now we have to consider in such a way that Saturn plus Jupiter. So Saturn in the Dhanu. First thing first, they are smart and skillful. Why? Because before we understanding the significant points of Saturn and Danu, we understand both the Saturn and the Jupiter in a separate ways. When you see Saturn, Saturn is meant for hardworking, discipline, justice, and it is also lazy. Lazy doesn't mean it, it won't like to work. It will do the work very, very slowly. For example, if the peoples who are in a high energy level of the Mars and the Sun, they do the work in 1 minute. But if the peoples who are having the Saturn's energy in them, they will do the work in a year time. That's the difference. So the people will call them as a lazy, but it is considered in another way, we can say it is a slow in motion.
Vanita,
Uh,
what's a small doubt I got? You just told me if in the particular, suppose you were talking about earlier, you were talking about the Vrishchik and now in Dhanasu, you are telling if any other planet, now we are talking about Saturn in the Dhanasu. If any other planet is there, you told one chapter. Now we are telling because owner also is there. You are telling Jupiter. So Jupiter is the owner. And besides that, if you say if suppose one more some other Mars, some other graha is there, Shani, Rahu, something is there. That,
I'm giving an example.
I'm asking you, you are one we have to consider owner or any other graha. Suppose owner is there, that particular house, then is suppose that owner is Dhanu, it is owner is Jupiter. Correct? Then
Owner
if
is
one more planet is there in that also we have to consider.
come again.
If another planet is there in that particular Dhanu Rashi,
Yes.
in the chart.
Yeah. We will see that the combination of the 2-3 grahas or 4 grahas. Some people will have the 5 grahas in one Rashi. Some people will have 6 grahas in one Rashi itself. That will happen. That's why I already told you one story about the Indrajit. Indrajit was having 8 grahas at Kumbha Rasi itself. Only one Saturn only escaped a little. So there are the different charts we'll see. Now we are in a very basic. That's why I didn't combine the graphs. When we are combining the graphs,
first predominance you have to take is the whatever the not the one and half the house, whatever the graha is there, that we have to be predominant. That will be in the
yeah, correct. Yeah. Wherever the graha in the Rasi, that do its work first. Okay, for example, now we are taking the example of Saturn in the Dhanush, right?
Yes.
Here, consider now this is the scenario we are seeing now. Saturn in the Dhanu Rashi. So this is the point what we have to consider. You have to consider the Saturn's energy first. Because the owner is the Jupiter, you have to consider the owner of the owner's energy.
Okay.
Now imagine you have in another person's chart, you have a Saturn as well as Mars also. So at this point, what you have to see, you have to see both this energy, Saturn and the Mars, additionally the owner of the house. But here one thing will come. Wherever the graha in the Rasi, that is anyway going to do its work. No matter what happens in it, it will going to do the work. But that will take higher precedence when you have the Dasha happening in your life. When there was consider the Saturn's Dasha was happening now, then the Saturn's energy is very well affected in your life. The Saturn was more significant in your life that point in time, regardless of the other years in your life. Consider there was an Mars Dasha was happening in your life. At that time, for this chart, this first chart, the Saturn may have its effect only because it was sitting in the Dhanush Rashi, it will do its work. But the Mars Dasha was happening, it won't give you that much effect. But consider the one scenario, there was a Saturn Dasha was happening, and the Saturn also in your Dhanu. Then this is the point that the Saturn's energy is highly impacted on your life. Mostly whenever the Dasha Antar was happening, that is the point that Graha's energy is highly impacted in your life. Okay? Come back again to the lesson now. Okay. Here we have to combine this. Now consider this Jupiter's energy. We no need to consider the Jupiter energy much more, but we understand what is the Jupiter will do. What is the significance of the Jupiter? Jupiter will represent the children. Jupiter will represent the wisdom, knowledge you acquired in your life, the financial state of whatever the finance in your hand, how you can handle the finance, and also about the wealth in your hand, particularly about the very big money and the gold. So this is all the most significance of the Jupiter. There are the various significance, but predominantly considered the main significance of the Saturn and the Jupiter. Now, based on this knowledge, whatever we having the little bit of knowledge, we are going to see what is the most characteristic of Saturn in the Dharma. First thing is smart and skillful. Why the skillful will come? Why the smartness will come? Because the Saturn is sitting in the Jupiter's house. That's why the smartness is come as a inbuilt quality of the individual. Makes the person spiritual. This is truly because of the Jupiter's energy. Because the Saturn is very dedicated. Whatever they are, the peoples who are having the Saturn's energy, they are very much dedicated in whatever they are doing, even though they are getting really bored of whatever they are doing, but they will be much more dedicated in their work. In additionally, the Jupiter's energy, the spiritual energy is also come into play. These peoples are more spiritual in nature. And the hard work, sincere, and discipline, this is the inbuilt quality of the Saturn. No one can change it. When the auspicious place, when auspicious Graha is the owner of the house, that the Saturn gets the more energy to reflect its own quality, like hard working, sincerity, and the discipline. Strong inclination towards the teaching and the preaching, it is because of the Jupiter's energy. When the Saturn was combined together, the Saturn is a person who love to do more work, who love to do any kind of the hard work in their life. But the Jupiter's energy is the wisdom and it's love to teach. So when it's both combined together, these people are very much good in the teaching. And when they preach, you can't even go against their words because their wisdom is beyond than what you are thinking. Consider a situation where you were speaking with a person who having a Saturn in the moon and they are trying to preach you. Even though the opposite person know this person is trying to preach me, you can't negate even a single word. That kind of the knowledge they will have. Very popular in life because of the knowledge, because of the smartness. They are very popular among the people, or at least around wherever they are living. Around the people who are living around the places, they will be very much popular. And these people will have the happy family life. Why the well known for the good deeds will come? The Saturn, plus the Jupiter, the spiritual energy more high. So because of this one good quality, they always try to do or tend to do good things in their life. Okay. And one more important thing, they have the cleansing ability, the environment. Mostly it's very good when the peoples are in any kind of the uh, cleansing thing in their mind. Some people they cleanse their mind. Some people cleanse their environment. It depends on the nature of the people or interest of the people or wherever the grahas it was situated. Their cleansing ability is also different. Until now, any doubts here? When the Saturn in the Jupiter, combination of the Saturn and the Jupiter is a very wonderful combination. There are again we are going to see the Saturn and the Jupiter combination again in Meena Rashi, but that is one quality is different because there is the water element. Here it is the Agni element. Because of this Agni element, the spiritual knowledge is also really high. Can we move on? Any doubts here until? Are we good?
No. Yes.
That's okay. We'll move on into the interesting thing. This is the wonderful place for the Saturn. Why? Because the Saturn's own house is the Makara Rasi and the Kumbha Rasi. Till now, we saw the Saturn in the different houses, whether it is the friend or the enemy or the neutral persons, the Saturn was live in that Rasi. But this is the Capricorn and Makara is the own house. Saturn when the Saturn was going to reside in the Rasi for a very long time. Okay, now let's see the 5-element principle first. In the Kalapurusha chart, Makara Rasi is the 10th Rasi. The element is the year. Prominently, these peoples are stubborn in nature. But the movable energy comes into play, their stubbornness will be little bit relaxed, and additionally, the female energy soften the stubbornness, but they are very much steady. Wherever they are, whatever they are doing, wherever they are living, they want to be in this, the mind will be steady and they want to live the steady life. And Saturn is the owner of the house. And here is an interesting thing. Exaltation is the Mars energy and the depleted is the Jupiter energy. Here is the point you have to remember all the time. In the previous, the Jupiter and the Saturn, where we see there was no exalted graha, there is no depleted graha, but the Saturn was living in the Jupiter's house. Here, the Saturn is going to reside in his own house, but at this point, Mars is exalted, depleted is the Jupiter. So when the depleted Jupiter is, this is the house where the depleted Jupiter is there. That means if the Jupiter was combined with the Saturn, then the entirely, whatever we are going to see, the list of points will be totally different. Okay. But currently we are not going to complicate anything. We are going to see only one graha that is going to live in the place of its own house. That is the Makara Rasi. That is the Saturn in Makara Rasi. Okay. Now we'll see one by most significant points. This may not be match exactly with the people who are having, but mostly it will match. Okay. Consider the, okay, let's see one by one. First see the points first, then we will see any of the example chart. The resilience and the fighting spirit. Okay, first thing, we'll see the previously we see the we saw the combination of the two grahas at least. One is the owner, another is the Saturn. Now, owner is also a Saturn. The Saturn is going to sitting in the moon. So Saturn's energy, we know it is a hard work, sincere, disciplined, and slow in motion, very lazy in nature. It won't happy to clean the places. Okay. But resilience and the fighting spirit will come when the hard work nature will be increased. Because basically they are very much sincere. And this is the inbuilt quality of the Saturn, hard work and the discipline. Reach their goal and ambitious despite the delay and obstacles. Okay, one more thing. Wherever the Saturn was sitting, the Saturn has an ability to enhance the individual wherever it was sitting. Not I'm saying looking, wherever it was sitting, it has an ability to give the gold to the individual. Now, wherever it was, when the Saturn was in the Makara Rasi, these people have a tendency to reach their goal. Whatever they are going to achieve in their life, whatever they are dreaming, it will come into the reality because of the because of the discipline, because of the sincerity. They are trying to do anything in action that brings the fruit in their life. Gets a lot of help and support from subordinates. Okay, these people are whenever they are trying to do any work, they not only try to do their work, they try to help others. Because of this nature, the other peoples also give them back whatever the help they get. Seeker of the spiritual knowledge, the Sunny is one more graha which inclined towards the spiritual energy. Guru is the naturally towards the spiritual energy, but the Sunny is also a seeker of the spiritual knowledge. Okay, this is the point where you have to. This is the point you have to be understand in a different perspective. The one point. This one point. Love to travel abroad and are also fond of the finance. Okay, this you may have the several questions in your mind because none of the significance we read about the Saturn in the Saturn's own house is a pound of the finance. But how come this is possible? Because of the earth and the movable nature, they have the tendency to love to travel abroad. Most of the movable energy, most of the rashis which is having the movable in nature, they have this quality to travel. But the traveling, the distance can be different. For example, the travel is one thing will come wherever whichever Rashi is which is having the movable nature, but the distance will be different. Some will go abroad, like there's a Saturn in the Makara. Some will go only 1 hour, 2 hour travel. Some will go very medium level of the distance, 1 day travel or 2 day travel. Some people will go far away from the place. So this is because of this nature of the quality of this transit. And the found of the fine arts, this is my understanding, my interpretation, maybe I'm wrong here, but this is because of the female energy combined together with the earth element, this the fine arts will come into place. Okay. Yeah, try to understand this one point very much clear whenever we read and why this was possible for the Saturn in the Makara. Okay, these people do very naturally happiness in giving. No matter whatever they are having, they tend to give whatever in their hand. For example, if the Saturn was in the Capricorn, even the kid, 1 or 2, 3 years old kid, or the 10 years or the 70 years old person, if the Saturn in the Magara, they try to give. When they are trying to give, they will get the happiness. It's the nature of them. They for a small child, usually what will see whatever they hold in the hand, they try to be with hold it for very long time. But the kid who's having the Saturn in the Magara, it try to give whoever the peoples they are asking. That kind of the happiness they will get whenever they are giving. But try to find out if you find any kind of the person like this. Anyone who is having a Saturn in Magara?
Vinita, I have Nina.
Hmm.
And I think it matches more than 90%.
Okay, which one is not matching?
No, I think mostly it's just that, see, I have a very fighting spirit in whatever I do. I don't lose heart. I mean, I fight for my right. For anybody's right, I like to fight for it. And even obstacles which come my way, I struggle a lot, but I try, and mostly I manage to reach where I have to. And I love giving. I mean, it gives me a lot of pleasure. So it's a natural thing. I mean, it's not sometimes, it's just part of me. It's my personality somehow.
Yeah, it's an inbuilt quality of you.
And yes, I like to travel also, and I've traveled a lot also. I mean, most of it is like my personality.
Okay,
but the thing, I have Ketu with it, so that might be some different, some combination, something else.
Okay, where the Saturn is in your chart?
1 minute, I'll tell you. Saturn with Ketu in Capricorn.
Yeah, I'm asking, sorry, my question is wrong. Which Bhava? First house, second house, third house?
6, 7, 8, 9th house.
What is the Lagna?
Lagna is Taurus.
Along with the Ketu. Saturn along with the Ketu. What is the third house having?
Third is Rahu.
Along with it, except Rahu, sorry, except Rahu. Because Ketu was here, definitely Rahu will be here. Except,
correct.
We'll see when we seeing the combination of the two grahas. Definitely, we are going to see in later sessions when we are combining the grahas, 2 grahas, 3 grahas. That point in time, you will definitely understand this combination.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, consider this scenario. when the person was having the lagna itself, Makara lagna, and the Sunny is the planet in the own house. And what you will deduce from this one? I now understand this one. Okay. For that it was the Rishabha Rasi. But now I'm telling the Lagna itself, Makara Lagna, and the Saturn is in Makara Rasi. That means the Lagnadipati itself in its own house. And one more thing here, what is the Saturn in the Lagna means? You remember anything when the Saturn is in the first house?
Oh, Digbala?
Hmm?
Zero Digbala.
I think lot of stuff. It is that
It is
Karnakaraka.
yourself, right? Yourself.
Correct. Lagna is the yourself. But consider the scenario. This is what we learned in the earliest. Lagna in the first house, Saturn in the first house. We learned about one thing when the Saturn in the first house, Jupiter in the third house, Sun in the 12th house. There was a one thing. Well,
Is it Marnakaraka?
yeah, that means that they will have the much more. Uh, Normally, the persons will have the 10 to 12. I'm telling as an example, 10 to 12 in their obstacles in their life. These peoples will have the 1,000 obstacles in their life. But even then, they reach the goal, they reach their ambitions. Because that is the tendency of the Saturn's energy. But when the people will see the Lagna, the Saturn in the first house, they will say the one word immediately, oh, you will have a much more daily and obstacles. But there was one hidden gem there. Even then, they will have the 1,000 obstacles more than the normal peoples. But they will definitely reach their goals. They know what is their ambition. Most of the people, mostly when the people who's having the Chandra, Moon and the Ketu, they are not able to find their ambitions in their life. But these people will know what is their ambition, what is their goal in their life. That is the biggest gift for them. But mostly when the people will see Lagna, Lagnadipati is Saturn, and the Saturn is also sitting in posited in the Makara Rasi, they will immediately say, oh, you will have these so many obstacles in your life. But remember that the hidden part, even then, you will definitely reach your goals and ambition. And they seek the spiritual knowledge on their way. So this is the interesting fact about the Lagnadipati. Even though it was a Maranakaraka. Maranakaraka means it nothing but it will give you the struggles in your life. It will give you the obstacles that is equivalent to your death. You will face that much struggles in your life that no one can able to manage, not even imagine to manage, but these people will have that. But even then, they will overcome everything. Okay? This much was okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll move on to the second part of the sun. The sun is the one graha. Anybody speaking? Okay. Sunny is the one graha in the Kalapurusha chart, is having its own house next to each other. In for the other grahas, if you see this Mars 1 and 8. For the Rishabha, it was 2 and 7. It's Buddhan, you will see the 3 and 6. Sun and the Moon 1, 1, 1. Guru, it's a 9 and the 12. But the Saturn is the only one Rashi. It's having its the two houses next to each other. That is the 10 and the 11. Okay, what is the significance of the 10th house? You know? Anybody else?
Career,
What is it?
career or profession?
Karma.
Career
Karma.
profession. Karma, career profession. Okay. What is the 11th house will be?
Wish fulfillment.
Desires.
Yeah, wish fulfillment or
Income, friends.
your friends also. So now remember these things whenever you are finding the 10th house, 11th house. Remember that point, but you no need to consider, but remember that point. But that will give you the hint about the characteristic of that particular Rashi, a particular Graha in that Rashi. Okay. Now we'll see the Saturn in the Aquarius, Saturn in the Kumbha, that in another word, Saturn in its own house. But what is the difference between that house and this house? Saturn in the first house was the earth element, and this house was the air element. And this is 11th in from the Kala Purusha chart. And this is the fixed in nature. You remember that one is the movable in nature. But this is the very much fixed in nature. But this quality, when you are combining this one, you will really wonder. Why? Because the air element is an inbuilt quality is always good. It moves from one place to another place. That's the nature of that element. But here the quality is a fixed one. And the male energy is the dominant. And the owner of the house is the Saturn. None of the Graha is exalted and the depleted. So the Saturn energy is highly significant here. If you see the peoples who are sannyasis, who are in the Siddha, definitely they have some kind of the significant Grahas in the Kumbha Rashi. Mostly in the southern part of India, if you belongs to a Kumbha Rashi, these people will say Sannyasi Rasi or Sami Rasi. Sannyasi means the Brahmachari, bachelor, or the peoples who considered as Siddhargal. Siddhargal means I don't know how to say in English because in Tamil, then they're equivalent to the rishis. You can say it is a rishi, but I don't know how to say. But in Tamil, they call it as a Siddhargal. Most of the somewhat the Kumbha Rashi will have that significance. That is also one interesting thing. Welcome. You will have the Shivaratri every month. That everybody knows, right? Shivaratri will come every month. But there was only one Shivaratri, will consider as the Mahashivaratri. That means when the sun which is in the Kumbha, that is the one Rashi is, when the sun is in the Kumbha Rashi only, that month night is considered as the Mahashivaratri. That much energy will enhance your body. Every Shivaratri, when there was the cosmic energy will come, but that is not that much equivalent when the Mahashivaratri energy considered you are going to meditate on the 12 Shivaratris. Now leave this one Mahashivaratri. You are meditating on the 11 Shivaratris, but you will get that benefit in one Shivaratri, that is in the Mahashivaratri itself. Because of the energy which is coming on that night, is entirely different when it was coming on the other Mahashivaratri nights. You can, for an experiment, you can do that also. There are the several people I saw. They do this kind of an experiment and they will understand how much it was important that night is. It's not only for the spiritual growth, it's for your inward journey, make you to understand yourself. That one particular night is very much effective. Okay, let's come back to here. Why I'm saying this Aquarius in the Kumbha, Saturn in the Kumbha, why I'm combining the Shivaratri thing. When the sun is in the Kumbha Rashi, that means when the Mahashivaratri was coming, that night is super effective. Okay, now again, we'll see about the Saturn in the Kumbha Rashi. Normally, this one Rashi is more spiritual energy, inclined towards the spiritual energy. Okay. Now let's see how what are the main significant characteristics of the Saturn in the Kumbha Rashi. Leader and believe in the equality, but this is the one quality is come. Mostly the Saturn belongs to the worker category. Mostly, not mostly in every book you see the Saturn belongs to the worker category. And they will say it is the hard work, discipline, sincere. Even you can memorize a number of books and you read it, they will definitely, this one line will come. But when the Saturn in the Kumbha Rashi, they have a tendency to lead the people. But here comes the interesting point. But they believe the equality. Mostly, this is the one quality which is missing in all the leaders because they can't make it. When they lead the peoples, they can't believe in the equality. They contradict with their principles, or whatever the dream, their visions they are having, they are not able to achieve. But when the people who are having the individual Jataka, which is having a Saturn in the Kumbha, they are leader in nature, along with this wonderful quality. They believe in equality, flexibility, and justice in love. Okay, this is the one characteristic which is most contradict to the quality of the Kumbha Rasi. But we'll try to understand why this flexibility come into place. Because of the fixed in nature, as fixed means it was very much steady. Whatever the energy which is having in this Rashi, it is very much steady. And that too, it was the male energy. Okay, when these two are combined, but here this steadiness, this stubbornness was loosened, this dominance was loosened by the air element. The air element will give you the flexibility and they make the people, but they stand wherever they want to stand. But mostly these people are flexible in nature. Why this flexibility? Why I'm giving this flexibility much more importance? If without this quality, they can't progress in the spiritual. Proof to be a loyal friend. This is the very much the default quality of the Saturn. Native accommodate a lot of emotions and the secrets. Because of this one point which is really contradicting. Native accommodate a lot of emotion secrets, but they will hold the secret. These people, why it's not for them nature to hold a secret. But what they will do, they don't like to spread the thing. They don't want to whatever the emotions they are holding, they try not to be published with everybody. They try to make it all the secret within themselves. Because they have why it's not their quality. Okay, I want to hold a secret. I want to hold a secret. No, it's not like that. What they will have in their mind, every person will have the time. Will they have their experience in their life? They will understand what they want to understand in their life. They have that kind of the tendency in their life. And compassionate and love yourself. It's come for them very naturally. Good judgment of right. This is the one thing because of the Saturn's energy. Well, Saturn, when it was sitting in any rashis, this one quality will come to them very naturally. Why? Because the Saturn is a very good judge. He knows the Sunny knows what is good, what is bad, and he knows how to weigh also. Okay, when this is good, I'm not going to do it. This is bad, I'm not even going to touch it. So that kind of this clear segregation which has come from the Saturn's energy. Very social and huge network because of the air element and the main energy combined. This is very much natural for them. Philosophical and self-pride. And this is because of the spiritual energy. Most of the people who are having the Kumbha Rasi, for a trial and error, for research purpose, go and see any people who having the Kumbha Rasi. That means Kumbha Rasi means moon in the Kumbha. Or the people who having the Lagna. Lagnadipati as the Kumbha. Kumbha Rasi as the Lagna. No, sorry, Lagna. Lagnadipati is a Saturn. Let's try to see these people who having the Lagnadipati as a Saturn or the Lagna itself for Kumbha or the moon in the Kumbha. That means the Kumbha Rasi people. They definitely, one or the other way, they try to incline towards a spiritual. Passion may turn into an addiction, or else if this is there's all the benefit, there's all the good points which we see, which we saw now. There's all the very good points about them. But this is the one thing may turn. Okay, it's not the nothing was written in a stone. Any person can change whatever they want. Any person can change their energy whenever they wish. Why? Because this realm is the free will realm. Anyone can turn into anything, anyone can consume anything from the cosmic. But this one Rashi, when the Saturn was placed in the Kumbha, they may turn into an addiction. Or mostly they susceptible to the self-pride. This is possibility, but this is not written in the stones. Okay? Anyone who is having the Kumbha in this Kumbha Rasi, Saturn in Kumbha Rasi? No?
Gita, what did you say? If it's Kumbh Rashi, then what is the chances? Or Kumbh Lagna, what is the chances? You just said something, I missed it.
Oh, this one will come for sure. The Kumbha Rasi peoples or the Kumbha Lagna people, they definitely inclined towards the spirituality. No
Correct.
matter what, wherever they are living, whichever the country they are living,
Okay.
at least they taste the spirituality once in their life. Even though they are living for 70 years, at least once in their life, they will taste the spirituality because that's the nature of it. The Kumbha Rasi people will tend inclined towards that path only. But other rasis may not be included into the spirituality, but these people will definitely incline towards the spirituality.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on into the last one. Okay, this is the one thing interesting because today itself we saw the Jupiter in the Dhanu. Now we're going to see the owner in the another Rashi, that is the Meena Rashi. We'll see about the Saturn in the Meena Rashi. In the Kala Purusha chart, Meena Rashi is the last one. The owner is the Jupiter. Okay, the element is the water element. The another moon, the Jupiter owns in another house, which is the Dhanu. Dhanu is the Agni, that is the fire element. Here it is the water element. This is the dual in nature. You remember what is the nature of what is the nature of the Dhanu? Anyone?
Dual.
Dual in nature. Can we show? This is also dual in nature. This is also dual in nature. But the one thing will be differ. One more thing. You remember what is the energy of the male energy, female energy of the Dhanu?
Male.
It's a male energy. Okay, that was the one interesting point whenever you whenever you are reading the five element principle, one thing will really amuse you about the element and the quality and the female or the male energy. Now the Meena Rashi is the female energy and the dual energy. That is also dual, this is also dual. So now let's leave this point for a while. Okay. Now this is the female energy. Water element is here. So the owner is the Jupiter. Exaltation is the Venus, depleted is the Mercury. Okay, now we have to consider the two energies. One thing is the Saturn, another is the Jupiter. Now we know about what the Saturn significance already. We know the significance of the Jupiter already. We'll combine it together, but here the underlying principle is different. Before we saw based on the Agni element, based on the male energy. Now we are going to see the same thing, but the underlying element was different. It is the water element and the female energy. Okay, now remember this point wherever you're, okay, here the water is the ocean, not the stagnant water, not the fluid, it is the ocean. Now when the Meena Rasi, the water, there are the other two water Rashis, right? But Meena Rashi belongs to the ocean, that water in the ocean. There was no boundary. It was if the water can move, the water can extend its horizon. Okay, now we'll see when the Saturn in the Meena Rashi. These peoples are confident and the good learners. Why? Why it is confidence and the good learners welcome? Mostly when the owner is the Jupiter, the Saturn is very hardworking, and the element is the water and the female energy. When this all together, and these peoples naturally become confident. Why does confidence welcome? Because these mostly the Jupiter's energy is based on the wisdom, but here the Saturn is think beyond the horizon. When you see the person, the Saturn in the Meena Rasi, and you are speaking with them, you will understand in 5 or 10 minutes. These people will speak beyond the horizon. They don't have any boundaries in in their knowledge, or the wisdom. I'm not particularly pointing anything about their wisdom, about their knowledge. They extend their horizon continuously. Because of that, they have this confidence and the good learners as well. Because if you are not a learner, you won't have a tendency to extend your horizon. Okay, here is the one point I have to say. One of my guru was saying, there was a time he was traveling around the world, but he have a habit of he has a habit of reading a books all the time. But when he was in the traveling, he was not able to do it. But he said, I read the books for more than half of my life, but this is the year which I read from the universe, which I acquire from the universe. In Tamil, they will say it as the Irai. When you are connecting with the cosmic energy fully, you will get all the answers. You will know what you want. You can easily communicate, and the universe will give the answer to you continuously. These people are like that. They communicate to the universe very much easily, and they extend their knowledge continuously. Okay. They're very mostly the Jupiter's, the Graha in the Jupiter, the Saturn in the Jupiter. The Saturn is very much polite mostly. It's not like Mars. Mars and the Sun will be show their power in every possible way, in every possible moment. But the Saturn is very polite, and that it was in the Guru's house, Jupiter's house. It's very much polite and expert in the business and skilled in arts. This is because of the combination of the Jupiter and the Saturn. Okay, this one point you can also remember whenever the Jupiter was seeing the Saturn also, that this point it will help you to learn, to understand more about the chart. That means that's Jupiter aspecting Saturn. This quality will come into the play. Lead a significant role in the personal and the professional life because of their wisdom, because of the patience in their life. They lead the significant role. They are wealthy in nature, sensitive because of the water element. This sensitiveness will come when the water element was there. Deep thinker and a mentor. Mostly when the Jupiter relates with any of the graha, if it is aspecting or if it is in the own house, that means the Jupiter's house, it will give this quality. It will give the Jataka have a quality of mentoring other people, teaching other people, preaching other people. This quality will come as an default. Spiritual and liberation and sacrificing nature. This spirituality will come because of the Jupiter only. That too, this one was the last Rashi in the Kalapurusha chart. The liberation will comes into the picture. You remember what is the 12th house significance?
Vyayasthana, losses, or
Death,
Sthana.
death, right?
Liberation.
Death. Liberation.
Liberation.
That because of that, the 12th house, you may also ask whether you are combining the bhava, you are combining the bhava quality, you are combining the fire element quality, you are combining the Saturn, you are combining the Jupiter. Why? You have to combine everything to find the fine-grained quality of this Saturn in the Pisces. Okay, remember one thing. This all the very good things about the Saturn in the Meena Rashi. Okay, this is the good says this is the only good thing in your life. There is also a bad thing that you will learn later in the classes. Okay, but this is the one point you have to be remember. When the Saturn was in the Meena Rashi, you have to remember all these things. But don't mug up. It will comes when you are combining this principle, when you're combining the power quality, when you are combining the graha significance, all put together. Believe me or not, you combine everything, then you write as your own points as your notes, then compare against with this points. definitely more or less it will be correct. At least 50% it will be correct. So that's why I'm always saying, remember this five element principle all the time, and know about your graha. What is that's Saturn significance? What is where the Saturn is reflecting, representing, and which Rasi it is, which Bhava belongs to the Kala Purusha, and which Rasi, which Bhava when you are reading the individual chart. So combine all together, then you will know most of these points. As you don't need to remember anything. You will understand all the points comes into your mind automatically. This much okay? Any doubts still here?
It's okay, Vinita.
Good, right? Okay. And today the Saturn's in all the Rashi was finished. I believe there was only one Graha was remaining. We'll see from the next week. If you have any questions, you can ask. No questions. I love this. Okay, we'll see you all next week then.
Thank you, Vinita.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanita. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Anita.